Hello friends, I am Karmjitsinh Bihola, a mentor for Vadodara Startup Studio, Parul University, and founder of Innodesk Design Innovation Services, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So with that, I would like to appreciate Vadodara Startup Studio of Parul University for the amazing groundwork that they are doing to develop a startup ecosystem in the central Gujarat region. And the initiative that they have taken are very helpful and supportive to startups at every stages. Due to these efforts, many startups have grown from idea to market stage and generating a crores of revenue. Today, as a part of this Wednesday Wisdom Mentor Nugget, I would like to talk about the product design and development cycle, keeping innovation aspect at the core for successful of every startup idea. During our interactions with the startups, we to the startup that what comes first, product or customer, and without giving a second thought, they would always reply that product. And it is because we are, as a human, our mindset works in such a way that we directly jump onto the solution whenever we are given a problem or whenever we are facing any challenges. But CB research reports, shows that 42% of the startups across the world failed because of they are not finding out the real and right market need and customer expectation for their domain. And that is where, if you are as a startup, if you are coming up with the innovative idea or technology marvelous solution, if you are not finding or if you are not understanding the needs of your user or client, right, you would going to fail. And that is where we always recommend our startups to testing their hypothesis at the first. Whatever assumptions you have in your mind regarding the problems about your customer or user, first try to find out the problems that they are facing, pain points that they are facing, and try to humanize those problems. Right, try to understand those problems and come up with the solution rather jumping onto the solution directly. Many startups and businesses are either a product or technology driven or marketing and sales driven. But as a to come up with the successful ideas into the market, we need to balance between the product, technology and innovation, as well as market and sales part, which is economical part of our startup. And if we can balance in these two parts using customer centricity for our startup, right, it would be a great combination for successful idea or a startup product into the market. And that is where today's, since last couple of decades, businesses and startup have moved from designing a functional and aesthetically good looking product to experiential solutions and business model. And that is where we have moved from design to design thinking. So today I am going to also little bit touch upon what is design thinking and why it is required for a startup at very early stage, or for especially for the student startup. When we talk about the experiential innovation or innovation in that matter, right, we need to understand the process that innovators or entrepreneurs are following. And it is structured and thoughtful process that innovators or entrepreneurs follow to come up with the successful ideas. And that process we call as a design thinking. So why this design thinking is nowadays so much in the minds or in the talk of the entrepreneur and startup ecosystem? Because whatever problem we are trying to solve as a common people or as a traditional or logical thinker, what we do is we always try to analyze the problem with the logic, right? And that is where we many a times do not focus on the emotional aspects or societal or symbolic aspect of the customer or of the user. And that is where as a traditional problem solver, what we do is we use our expertise or experiences, our judgment or interpretation. We assume lot many things about the problems of the people, and many a times copying others. And when we do such a thing, when we apply logical thinking and analytical thinking, we always come up with the traditional or common solutions. And whereas design thinking as a strategic and systematic approach use the analysis and synthesis process, which is where we apply where we understand the problem first and then come up with the solution with many ideas, right, rather than coming up on the final solution. And then we iterate our solutions many times. So in product design and development process, there are two parts. First is the problem identification, which many a times we don't give much time, or many a times we neglect that product identification phase. And that's why when we directly jump onto the solution using technology, when we try to come up with the solution, right, we many a times fail because there is no market need, there is no buyer to buy our product. So first, using design thinking, what we need to do is we need to first identify the right problem of the user, pain points of the user. So first we need to identify the people's desirability, whether people would desirable to buy my product or not, whether there will be a buyer or not in the market. So if you are coming up with any solution, first you need to identify the pain points and people's need. Then second part is the technological feasibility or techniques that we are using for coming up with a solution. For example, McDonald's use the management principle as an innovation, right? Starbucks and they are using the standardization of the product and processes as the innovation. So there is a technology or technique that you can come up with, which would be the feasible technology and technique for your startup. And then as a startup, we also need to come up with the viable business model, because at the end of the day, for any businesses, making money is the core part of the startup process or of the business operations. And if we integrate these three aspects, people's desirability, technological feasibility, and business viability, we will always get the experience innovation. Now, why this experience innovation is so much important? It is because, and due to this experience innovation only, Apple can sell you a iPhone of 1,30,000 rupees, even though there are a very good technological or very good feature phone available, competitors feature phone available in the market. But due to this experience innovation, the experience that you would like to have from your iPhone or any smartphone, right, it is provided by the Apple. And that is why you buy Apple iPhone of 1,30,000 rupees. So for success or failure of any startup, this experience innovation is very much important. And that is where you also need to focus on emotional, symbolic, or societal aspects of your user or client. And many a times, see, for example, this Apple iPhone buyer, for many buyer or for many Apple iPhone user, they don't care about the technical feasibility or technicality of the iPhone, because they might not know about the very important features of the Apple iPhone as a technical features of the iPhone. But for them, it is only the status symbol, right? It is the emotional connect with the iPhone. That is where you need to, as a startup, you need to segment your customer, and you need to market your product in a way that you can satisfy, or you need to develop your product in a way that you can satisfy the needs of the people, the emotional needs of the your user and your customer. And for that, you need to empathize with them. You need to understand what people feel, what people experience, what people see around them, right? What are their behaviors? And for that, observation and talking to your customer, your user is very much important. That's what we do in our market research. Our market research consists of secondary research, which is through Google, and facts and figures through our reports and database, right? But our primary research talks about the empathize with the people, where we observe our people, where we interact with the people and try to understand how they are feeling, what their experiences, what are their pain points, and need to come up with the innovative idea. So without understanding what people see, feel, hear, experience, design and innovation is a pointless task. So we need to empathize people towards identify their unmet needs, which are not met by any company. And that is where, if we are coming up with the solution to meet this, unarticulated needs of the user, we are coming up with the innovative idea. Now people say that I have an idea, right? So you need to see that what does that idea look like? Do my customer want it? Is it right for my business, whatever domain I am doing? And that is where you need to come up with the many idea. It is not only one idea, right? So in product design and development process, when you reach to ideation stage or idea part, right, you don't need to you just need you need to come up with many ideas, not only one idea. So for coming up with the good idea or good solution, you need to come up with the quantities of the idea. So initially you need to come up with the quantity of the idea, where quantity is more important than the quality. At this stage you can come up with any random thought, any small idea, because idea is a preliminary, rough, abstract kind of thing which is only in your mind, and you need to give a shape to that idea towards the innovation. So ideation is nothing but the coming up with the ideas to innovation process, where our product realization or conceptualization steps are involved. So ideation is a creative process of generating ideas, but you need to come up with many ideas to come up with to finalize on a final good idea. Now innovation is a combination of existing ideas. Many a time, if you take any product, process, or any solution in that matter right now in the world, right, 99% of the innovation, the product or services that you consider as an innovation, if you see, right, they are the novel combination of the existing ideas, right? So you need to combine the products, you need to combine the processes, you need to combine the parts of the products in a way that in a novel combination, so that everyone would consider it as an innovation. For example, Uber. So Uber, before Uber came, right, taxi services was there, mobile application was there, drivers were there, customers were there. But what they have done is, on their platform, Uber platform, they have combined it in a novel way which solves the problem of many stakeholders. So you need to come up with the innovation as a complete solution, and your innovation, your solution solves the problem, but it doesn't need to, or it will not create many other problems, right? That's how we can come up with the innovative complete solution of our startup. uh, for coming up with the creative ideas, we need to explore many new ideas. We need to come up with, as I said, quantities of the idea. We need to explore more possibilities, right? We need to look for many answers, not only one answer. That is where the diversion thinking and lateral thinking help us, right? So diversion thinking is nothing but to come up with a solution. You think of the 360 degree of the solution, not only one solution but many ideas. So it is, diversion thinking is a horizontal thinking. But when we talk about out of the box thinking, right, we come up with completely a new solution, which is like a vertical thinking, what we call, right, where we are coming up completely a new solution. Maybe if I am talking about or if I'm trying to come up with the solution for the food business, I am coming up with the idea from different domain, maybe from manufacturing, maybe from healthcare, maybe from different other domain, right? If I'm trying to come up with the idea for edutech, right, education domain, so then I need to think of the solution from different domain and need to combine that into my idea, so that I can come up with the completely a new innovative idea, which we call a disruptive idea. Now after coming up a couple of concepts, you also need to go back to your problem and try to connect that solution, that concept with your problem. So your concept need to solve the problem with the relevance of the context, whatever the pain points and problem your customer or user are finding, and it also need to add value. Without adding value, right, in today's time, your startup would not be survive into the competitive market. So you need to have that value proposition, your USP, for any one or two kind of USP, then your competitors, to create the brand value and to create the customer base who can be who will be loyal to your brand and to your idea. And this innovation and product design process depends largely on the constraint. So without constraints like cost and budget, time constraint, quality, technology, performances, usability, integration and compatibility, many a times logistical thing, material issues, right, safety, ethic, right? Sustainability is also one of the constraints nowadays. So you need to consider that constraint when you are conceptualizing your idea, right? When you are conceptualizing your solution, right? At initial phase of the ideation, where when you are coming up quantities of idea, this constraint doesn't need to be worry about, right? But when you are conceptualizing it, when you are conversing your, sorry, when you are conversing your thought, right, your ideas to final solution, these constraints are largely, applicable for the final solution, and based on this constraint you can come up with the final solution. So for this conceptualization, we do not need to narrow it down too fast. It is a gradual process. Slowly you would consider the technological feasibility, market opportunity, who are your competitors, aesthetic and ergonomic aspect, cost restriction or business restrictions, quality and reliability. All these aspects will come later on as gradual process, right? And do not immediately worry about feasibility or scalability part. What we do as a startup, as a student startup, is we rush through the final solution. We rush through the bringing our solution into market very fast, or we expect revenue generation very soon, right? And that is where we many a times fail or overlook many aspects of the product realization or conceptualization process. And that is where you need to be patient. You need to develop your skill sets, and you need to develop your multidisciplinary team who will help to grow as a team, and who will help to realize your solutions for the market. When you come up with the idea, when you come up with the innovative thought, right, or innovative concept, right, that is maybe the half of the story, but implementation is the main part. And that is where innovator or entrepreneur's role will be very much important, because most of the student startup or most of the startups are failing at the early stage because we have an idea but we are not implementing it. And even though we are implementing, if we fail, right, we drop out those ideas. So we need to develop a mindset, attitude, and skill that even if your startup or your first or second or third idea would fail, as an entrepreneur you would not fail. So you need to develop a mindset, attitude, and skills of an entrepreneur, right? So in such kind of scenarios where your startup or where your ideas are failing, you will not fail as an entrepreneur, and you will keep growing, right? So for that, this iteration process is very much important, which is a part of the product design and development. So you need to iterate. If you fail, if your idea is failed, first idea is failed, you need to iterate based on the feedback. You need to iterate based on the second feedback, right? So you need to keep iterating your solution. You need to keep pivoting your solutions as per the needs of the customer and the market, right? So that is where fail fast, fail safe, and fail cheap is a mantra, because failed experiments are better than the failed business, right? So with that, I would like to recommend you that you use this process as a structured process, thoughtful process. Initially, kindly use the design thinking process to identify the real problem, to come up with the many ideas as ideation process, to iterate your solutions with using prototype. Then you move on to the using lean startup methodology, where using minimum resources as a money, teamwork, or material and everything, right? Using minimum resources, using lean startup methodology, you come up with the your final solution and launch your product into the market. Once you launch into the market, based on the market feedback and based on the users feedback, you use the agile methodology, you adapt those changes and come up with the new iterations, which is the incremental innovations in your product. So use this design thinking, lean, and agile methodology in the combination to come up with the successful ideas for your market. So with that, I would like to appreciate again the efforts of Vadodara Startup Studio and Parul University, and to all the startups, to all the students who would like to start their own business, I would like to just give you one final advice, is to just start. We are there for you to support in each and every manner, and we are always be ready to bring your ideas from mind to market stage. So thank you very much everyone for this opportunity. Thank you.